Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about these mass and ejections that came from the sun, solar flares, and Three Eye Atlas took a direct hit multiple times, and it showed no signs of even being bothered by the sun doing that. And that's what makes me laugh because these folks think because they got some nuke, "Oh, if it comes near Earth, we'll nuke it." It ain't gonna do if the sun look, if the sun can't take this thing out, your nuke ain't gonna take nothing out, okay? You can forget it. The sun is way more powerful, and if this thing can endure the sun and all those solar flares and taking direct hits from it, there is no way your nuke is gonna that thing gonna laugh at your nuke. That's the only thing it's gonna do. It's gonna laugh. So, if anything, it probably gave it more power. All right. So, yeah, everybody is online buzzing because this is the 29th and it was supposed to go behind the sun. But according to what I read, it went behind the sun a week ago. I mean, more than a week ago on the 21st. That's when they said they could no longer see it. So, if they could no longer see it on the 21st, chances are it went behind the sun then. For some reason, man seems to think if he comes out with some BS hypothesis, it's going to follow it to a T. It's not going to follow everything that you are saying to a T. Come on. It stops, it starts, it slows down, it speeds up, y'all can't predict, and I bet every dime it's not gonna come out on the 17th. It's gonna come out any day but the 17th. You watch. Oh, it's gonna go behind the sun and it's gonna appear December 17th. No, it's gonna appear when it's good and ready to appear. That's what's gonna happen. All right? It's gonna appear when it's good and ready. These folks are a joke. I now just listening to them, it makes you laugh. It is a joke that these folks want us to believe out of everybody on this planet, they wanna talk to them. Now, I got another one coming at 6:45. There's a bunch of white people over on TikTok, and they keep putting out all these videos talking about, "I spoke directly with Three Eye Atlas. I spoke to one of them. I spoke" You ain't speak to no damn body. Yeah, you probably spoke to Hashatan and his demons. That's probably who you did speak to. You ain't speak none of you please. Y'all doing that for clicks and views. That's what you white people are doing. You're doing it for clicks and views. So I got that coming up at 6:45. I want y'all to listen to this because I'm not imagining this. If you go online over there and say talking to Three Eye Atlas, you're gonna see all these white people videos popping up. And each and every one, oh, I got the chills. I just spoke to them. Oh my goodness. Wait, get out of here. No, I don't believe you. That's why I even got I don't believe you in the damn title because y'all are doing this for clicks and views. Or are you trying to make people believe you got some ability that nobody else got? I believe you're lying about that too. Okay, that's right up there with the high IQ that none of you have. So let's get started. Let's get started, y'all, with this one. All right. At least this happened. The sun did let off some flares and Three Eye Atlas was approaching it and got hit with some. At least that's real. But you talking to the spaceship and everybody on there, y'all need to go somewhere and sit down. Go somewhere and sat down already. All right, y'all. Please give me a one if you can see my screen. So when they started talking about the Three Eye Atlas and they were calling it a comet. Usually, when comets get around the sun, because all it is space dirt and ice, that's really all they are. So, usually, when they get around the sun, they tend to break up, and many of them don't survive. Once they get around the sun, they pretty much just break up into pieces and disintegrate. They don't make that trip all the way around the sun. Very few do. Some do. I mean, I'm not saying all don't, but some do, but the vast majority of them don't make it beyond the sun because it's just too hot. Well, 3I Atlas, if it was a comet and it took all those direct hits of solar flares, it should not even exist right now, but it still does. Now, they projected it was out there for millions of years. And let's say they're right. Some are claiming, some of these scientists are claiming that it's been out there even before this Earth existed. And let's say it did. Say it did. Then that should tell you the damn thing is indestructible. How would it have, made it millions of years in the solar system and still flying around to this very day? Then that damn thing is indestructible. You know how many solar storms and meteorites and asteroids that thing has probably had whizzing past it or even took a direct hit from? Nothing can survive that long unless it's indestructible. And anything our Heavenly Father put together is going to be indestructible, okay? He ain't gonna let none of you, he ain't gonna let the bases of all men destroy it. Are you kidding me? Okay, out of everybody on the planet, the basis of all men is gonna be the destroyer of three. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. So, y'all, I just want you to listen to, because many of them are in disbelief that this thing survived after solar flares hitting it. Well, that right there should rule out that it's a comet. That should automatically rule it out right there, but they're still on here saying comet. Go figure. Okay. Give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
Precisely 11:36 Universal Time, something will happen that we were told would be invisible. An interstellar visitor, racing through our solar system at speeds that would make your head spin, will swing around our sun at its closest approach. For months, every astronomical source you could find repeated the same story. It will be hidden, behind the sun, unobservable. The most critical moment of this object's journey through our neighborhood, the exact window when any spacecraft would perform its most fuel-efficient maneuver, conveniently obscured from every telescope on Earth. But 4 days ago, on October 25th, an amateur astronomer pointed their equipment at the sky and captured something that changes everything. The object they were told would be invisible, sitting right there, visible, observable, next to the sun in broad daylight. Either every major astronomical institution got their calculations catastrophically wrong, or someone wanted us looking the other way. Tomorrow, we find out which. Before we dive into what might be the most important 48 hours in modern astronomy, I need to ask you something. If this story matters to you, if you want to stay informed about what's really happening up there, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Both help more than you know, and here's what I'm curious about. Tell me in the comments where you're listening from, what time it is there right now, and whether you'll be watching the sky tomorrow morning. Share this on social media if you think others should know, and hit that hype button to help our community grow. Thank you for being here. The lie they told us. Let's start with what we were supposed to believe. Since July, when 3I Atlas was first detected racing toward our inner solar system, the official timeline has been remarkably consistent. The narrative went something like this. On October 29th, 2025, at 11:36 Universal Coordinated Time, this interstellar visitor would reach perihelion, its closest approach to the Sun, at a distance of 1.356 astronomical units. That's roughly 203 million kilometers if you're counting, and on that exact date, the object would be positioned directly behind the Sun from Earth's perspective. Solar conjunction, they called it. Completely hidden, unobservable, no witnesses. This story appeared everywhere. Astronomy blogs picked it up. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory tracking data summaries mentioned it. Amateur observation guides warned skywatchers not to bother looking. Even peer-reviewed papers discussing the object's trajectory included casual references to this convenient blackout period. The implication was crystal clear. Whatever happens during perihelion, whatever changes might occur in the object's trajectory or brightness or behavior, would happen in darkness. We'd have to wait until early November, when Three-Eye Atlas emerged from behind the Sun, to see what had changed. Trust us, they seem to say. We'll tell you what we found. But here's the thing about trust. It requires honesty. And on October 25th, at 13:25 local time, someone decided to check for themselves. The blog post appeared under the name Earth Exists, an amateur astronomy group that had been tracking Three-Eye Atlas since its discovery. What they published wasn't a theory or speculation. It was evidence, actual telescope images time-stamped, coordinates verified, showing Three-Eye Atlas clearly visible in the constellation Virgo. And here's the part that should make every hair on your neck stand up. The Sun was in the same frame. Massive, bright, sitting on the left side of the image. The object they told us would be hidden behind the Sun was instead sitting next to it, separated by a measurable angular distance, with the reference star Spica visible for positioning and Venus hanging on the right edge of the frame. Let me say that again slowly so it sinks in. 4 days before perihelion, when every source claimed the object would be sliding behind the Sun and vanishing from view, an amateur astronomer captured it clearly visible alongside our star, not behind it, not obscured, observable, right there. The technical details matter here. The position they recorded was right ascension 13 hours 38 minutes 44.9 seconds, declination -7 degrees 40 minutes 32.5 seconds. Distance 2.34 astronomical units, roughly 350 million kilometers from Earth. Apparent magnitude 15, which means you need a telescope to see it, but it's absolutely there. The object exists in observable space, sharing the same field of view as the Sun, completely contradicting the solar conjunction narrative that's been pushed for months.
The Sun's own plasma, and lost its tail. On September 25th, the Sun erupted in a way nobody alive had ever seen before. For days, its surface had been boiling with dark sunspots and looping arcs of plasma, like warning tremors before an earthquake. But at 3:47 UTC, the tension finally snapped. A blinding flash rolled across the Sun's disk, and a colossal loop of superheated gas rose tens of thousands of miles high, then snapped loose and hurled itself into space, which is known as a CME, or coronal mass ejection. It wasn't just light and heat. It was billions of tons of electrified plasma, threaded with magnetic fields, moving at over 1.6 million Scientists watching the real-time feed saw their gauges spike far beyond the red zone. Instruments calculated the blast at about 1.2 trillion megatons of kinetic energy, an amount so large it's hard to comprehend. Think of every nuclear bomb humanity has ever built, then multiply that by 20 million. Or imagine the energy released by the asteroid impact that killed the dinosaurs. Then imagine 20 of those detonating at once, hurled straight at one small point in space. NASA's space weather models showed the shock wave rolling through the inner solar system like a flaming hurricane. Its aim was terrifyingly precise, directly at Three-Eye Atlas, the enormous green interstellar object streaking toward a near pass with Mars. For months, this emerald stranger had been unsettling scientists. It was already far heavier than any known comet, more than 33 billion tons, with a core over 5 kilometers across. Its green glow came from gases and metals that don't belong in a normal comet's tail. Diatomic carbon, nickel, cobalt, compounds more like industrial exhaust, and frozen cosmic ice. And now, at the moment of its closest approach to the Sun, it would take a hit from the most powerful solar storm ever measured. In observatories, from Hawaii to Chile to the Canary Islands, astronomers gathered in control rooms and stared at their screens in dark anticipation. Comets have been known to lose their tails or even disintegrate under much smaller CMEs. This one was orders of magnitude larger, a hammer blow of star-forged plasma capable of ripping apart a gas giant's magnetosphere, so strong it could warp the Earth's magnetic field into a knot and snap it. When the CME finally struck, the spectacle was immediate and shocking. The green tail of 3I Atlas snapped like a whip, a luminous streamer tearing free and vanishing into the solar wind in less than a minute. Its bright coma, the glowing halo of gas around its nucleus, collapsed inward as if someone had pulled the plug. Spectrographs from Chile's Rubin Observatory showed
3I Atlas goes by Mars, gets hit by corona mass ejection, and the Sun responds with more solar flares. Solar activity is spiking like never before. It almost looks like the Sun is reacting, tracking, or even communicating with this object.
3I Atlas, this strange interstellar visitor, is not just a comet, not just a frozen rock from another star system. So 3I Atlas had been struck head-on by the Sun's own plasma and lost its tail. On September 25th, the Sun erupted in a way nobody alive had ever seen before. For days, its surface had been boiling with dark sunspots and looping arcs of plasma, like warning tremors before an earthquake. But at 3:47 UTC, the tension finally snapped. A blinding flash rolled across the Sun's disk, and a colossal loop of superheated gas rose tens of thousands of miles high, then snapped loose and hurled itself into space, which is known as a CME, or coronal mass ejection. It was
Atlas blast the jet toward the Sun.
It felt like the end of a cosmic horror movie, where the monster finally burns up in the last reel. But then,
If you're new here, you need to follow this now. The interstellar object 3I Atlas blast the jet toward the Sun, and nobody's talking about what it really means. Yo, the object known as 3I Atlas has scientists stunned. In a recent telescope image, it's clearly seen sending a massive jet of gas and dust toward our Sun. This isn't just any comet. It's the third known interstellar object in our solar system. Now people are asking, is the update today on 3I Atlas far more than a comet sighting? It might be something deeper. Here's where the argument starts. Why is the jet pointing toward the Sun instead of away? Could this behavior signal something unnatural, maybe engineered? And if it's engineered, what does that say about our cosmic neighborhood? Astrophotographers and skywatchers, if you captured 3I Atlas in your region, and anywhere on Earth I'm talking about, or witnessed unusual sky behavior when it passed near Mars or Earth, drop your city, your dates, and what you saw in the comments. Did you see anything odd when 3I Atlas was closest? Speak up now. Here's what we know though. 3I Atlas is confirmed as interstellar, passing through our Sun's neighborhood according to Wikipedia. A special image shows a fan-shaped dust jet blasting toward the Sun from the object's sunlit side. The comet will hit perihelion, closest point to Sun, around October 29, 2025, meaning activity could spike. Some scientists argue that this could imply non-natural behavior, though it remains highly speculative. So yeah, we're seeing 3I Atlas update today moments, but how we interpret them is where it splits. Follow now if you want every crazy twist of 3I Atlas, every new photo, every weird sky sighting. Most people scroll past space stories like this, but not you. You're still here, so follow, because when 3I Atlas does its next move, you want to be watching. Y'all, somebody drop an alien emoji down in the comment section if you made it to the end of the video.
Right now, I'm sitting in the lab watching something that should not exist. For 40 years, I've studied the sun, its flares, its storms, its fury. But what 3i Atlas just did has left even the most experienced solar physicists went speechless. Yesterday, at precisely 2 p.m. UTC, the sun unleashed an M-class solar flare, the kind of eruption that can knock out satellites and cause auroras across half the planet. Every spacecraft near the inner solar system recorded the blast. But one signal stood out. It came from 3i Atlas. Instead of flaring brighter or breaking apart, the object dimmed. For a full 12 minutes after the flare struck it, Atlas's optical brightness dropped by 40%. When the light returned, the infrared emission had risen far above normal. Something inside it had absorbed the solar energy, not reflected it, not scattered it, absorbed it. NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory confirmed the numbers. They expected a violent reaction, gas, jets, plasma tails, fragmentation. Instead, there was stillness. The flare hit, the object darkened, then glowed faintly from within, like metal heated from the inside. That was the first sign that this isn't a natural comet. Nothing made of ice and dust can survive that amount of solar radiation without vaporizing. Even solid iron would have melted. But Atlas didn't melt. It fed. The Webb telescope team ran spectral analysis immediately after the event. The data looked wrong. Every emission line had shifted toward higher frequencies, as if the atoms themselves were vibrating faster. One scientist said quietly, "It looks like it charged itself." And that's exactly what the math shows. The total energy absorbed during the flare was equal to roughly 4 terajoules, enough to power the entire United States for several minutes. And yet, Atlas emitted almost nothing back. No radiation spike, no particle jets. It took in energy and stored it somewhere deep inside. I've seen many theories proposed in the past 24 hours. Some believe the object uses the sun as a power source, drawing plasma through electromagnetic funnels invisible to our eyes. Others think it's using a kind of quantum capacitor, a material that traps energy between atomic layers.
So as of 11:47 Universal Time, which is about an hour ago at the posting of this video, 3i Atlas is at perihelion, which means it's at its closest point to the sun. Now, what that means is that if it is alien, and if it's going to do anything, as far as getting into an orbit around the sun, performing a braking maneuver and all that, today is the perfect time for it to do that. Now, the problem is we won't know what it did, if anything, for about 3 to 4 weeks, till the end of November, early December. So right now, we just kind of sit and wait. But if you want to know all of the weird anomalies and details and all that about 3i Atlas, check out the Paranormal Directive 13 podcast, because the 3i Atlas episode went live this morning. And I go into all of the details, all of the anomalies, all of the theories, all down the rabbit hole on that episode. So check that out. And while we wait, we can speculate and we can see what's going on. But at the end of November, when we see this thing again, if it is not on the exact path that that hyperbolic orbit should have been on, then we have a situation.
October 29th, Wednesday. Halloween's in 2 days. That comet is supposed to have some effects on everything on the planet that's alive in the next 2 or 3 days. This is go time. It's warrior time. Everything that you've practiced, exercised, gone through, the shadow work, everything that you've done, this could be the very first test. And I would not consider this a drill. I would say this is go time. So hold the light. In gratitude and love, hold the light for the next 3 days at least, because even after that guy passes, there's going to be a little after effect. And I think we're going to have to hold the light a little bit longer than just 3 days. But these 3 days are crucial. So spread love. Ignore the bullshit. And grow with the flow. Have a great day.
5,000, as though an invisible hand had slammed the brakes. For the first time since its discovery, the mighty green visitor looked like a dark, inert lump drifting helplessly toward the sun. In observatories from Chile to Hawaii, researchers erupted in cheers. Months of sleepless nights and speculative panic seemed to dissolve in an instant. The anonymous mass and green glow, the Mars flyby, the whispered worries of an alien mothership, all of it neutralized by our star. It felt like the end of a cosmic horror movie, where the monster finally burns up in the last reel. But then the impossible happened. Exactly 2 hours and 7 minutes after the CME strike, a faint flicker appeared at the heart of the darkened mass. It pulsed once, twice, then flared violently, a beacon bright enough to saturate detectors. Sensors at European Space Agency's solar orbiter picked up a surge of emissions, the same nickel, cobalt and diatomic carbon signature as before, but stronger, richer, unmistakable. In a single breathtaking moment, a new tail shot out from the nucleus. Perfectly symmetrical, emerald green, and even more brilliant than the original. And then the speed readings ticked upward. 10,000 miles up, 50,000, 100,000, until the object was once again blasting along at 37,000 miles up on its path toward Mars, as if nothing had happened at all. What people were seeing defied physics. A natural comet can't be hit by a plasma wave powerful enough to melt planets and then casually regenerate its tail and speed. Even the strongest magnetic field of any planet in our solar system would have been torn apart in that blast. Yet here was 3I Atlas, emerald tail blazing, moving at full speed, as if it had fed on the sun's fury instead of being destroyed by it. Scientists were left staring at their screens in stunned silence. No natural comet could regrow a tail and regain its exact velocity within minutes, not after being hit by a plasma wave powerful enough to boil oceans. Even the most powerful planet in our solar system would have been scorched under that assault. And yet here was 3I Atlas, emerald tail blazing and moving at full speed, shrugging off physics, as though physics did not apply. Lope explained it in simple terms. For weeks before September 25th, instruments on NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory had shown odd patterns on the sun's surface. Tiny magnetic quakes, lining up with the side of the sun facing 3I Atlas. It looked, he said, like something was poking or tickling the sun's magnetic field until it snapped. To him, the timing of the CME wasn't a coincidence. It was as if 3I Atlas had known exactly when the eruption would happen or had caused it. He compared it to a ship at sea, raising a sail to catch a gust of wind. Only here, the wind was a billion-ton blast of plasma and magnetic fields powerful enough to strip the air off a planet. Instead of dying under that storm, 3I Atlas may have opened its sails and absorbed it. We've never seen anything like it, Lowe said. If this is a comet, it's one with a powerful system beyond our comprehension. Lowe's working idea was that the object isn't a snowball of ice and dust at all, but a gigantic machine wrapped in a kind of invisible shield. Imagine a huge magnetic bubble or super strong electromagnetic net around it. Such a bubble could bend the sun's plasma around the craft, soak up the energy, and funnel some of it inside.
When it comes to 3I Atlas, the United States released their National Space Security Force, or whatever you want to call it. You guys let me know. I'm sure that somebody knows on here. But it's worldwide global security, right, for outer space, because 3I Atlas. Now, if it was just a comet, we would just ignore it. So I have some bad news. The videos that you guys see going around it doesn't look like they're real when it comes to 3I Atlas. There is no leaked footage from Japan. That is AI, my friends. Now, the big story, the big update for 3I Atlas is that there is a lot of solar flares. Nobody's talking about this. It's even hard to find it online, but it's happening. There's a lot of solar flares. And like I said on my previous video, that can help us raise our consciousness because how it reacts to the human body. And it can also shut down electricity and electronics, computers, so we can go dark. Let me know what you guys think. And if you heard any different information, please repost and comment. Peace.
Sun strikes back. The sun doesn't ask permission when it loses its temper. Earlier this week, a violent wave of energy burst from its surface, carrying billions of tons of superheated plasma and twisted magnetic fields. Astronomers call these eruptions coronal mass ejections, and they are among the most destructive forces in the solar system. The blast raced outward at speeds faster than 1,000,000 kilometers per hour, spreading in all directions like an invisible tsunami. On Earth, we worry about these storms frying satellites, knocking out power grids, and lighting up the sky with aurora. But this time, the Earth was never in danger. This time, the storm was headed for something far stranger, an interstellar wanderer known as 3I Atlas. That name tells a story. The 3I marks it as the third interstellar object ever confirmed. The first was one Oumuamua in 2017, the mysterious shard that slipped past us before anyone could fully understand what it was. The second was 2I Borisov in 2019, a comet with a long, glowing tail that felt more familiar. And now 3I Atlas, discovered in July 2025 by the Atlas Survey Telescope in Hawaii. It is no small visitor. Early estimates suggest its nucleus stretches nearly 5 kilometers across and carries more than 30 billion tons of mass. To put that in perspective, this one body is heavier than all the water in the Great Salt Lake combined. Even more intriguing is its chemistry. Unlike many comets in our solar system, which give off mostly water vapor, 3I Atlas shows a higher ratio of carbon dioxide, making it a true outsider in both origin and makeup. And right as astronomers began tracking this rare alien traveler, the sun decided to hurl a coronal mass ejection directly into its path. The timing could not have been more dramatic. Instead of a quiet passage through our skies, 3I Atlas is about to be tested against the raw fury of our star. No simulation can predict exactly how it will react. Will the sun rip away its glowing tail? Will it trigger unexpected bursts of brightness as hidden layers boil into space? Or will this ancient traveler shrug off the strike, carrying on its endless journey as if nothing happened? A stranger in our skies. When astronomers first spotted 3I Atlas, it didn't take long to realize this was no ordinary comet. The discovery came from the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, or ATLAS, a sky survey designed to catch dangerous near-Earth objects before they get too close. On that July night in 2025, the telescope picked up a faint moving speck against the background stars. At first, it looked like a routine detection, but when the orbit was calculated, jaws dropped. The trajectory was not looping back around the sun like a native comet. Instead, it was open, hyperbolic, the unmistakable signature of an object from beyond our solar system. That single curve in its path told astronomers that this visitor was born in another star system and was just passing through ours for the first and only time. The numbers made it even more impressive. Unlike 1I Oumuamua, which was relatively small, and 2I Borisov, which resembled an average comet, 3I Atlas appeared to be enormous. Early estimates suggested its nucleus could span almost 5 kilometers in diameter. If true, that makes it the largest interstellar body ever detected so far. And its mass, more than 30 billion tons, gives it a stability and resilience that sets it apart from its predecessors. This was not a fragile ice shard drifting aimlessly. This was a mountain of alien ice and rock plunging through the solar system with momentum built up over untold millions of years. Then came the chemistry. Using spectral analysis, astronomers detected an unusual ratio of gases venting from its surface. Most comets near the sun release water vapor as they heat up, but 3I Atlas gave off a stronger signature of carbon dioxide. That might sound like a small difference, but it hints at a very different origin. In another star system, conditions must have favored the preservation of CO2 ice more than water. That makes 3I Atlas not only a rare visitor, but also a messenger, carrying with it the fingerprints of the world where it was formed. Every particle it sheds into space is a piece of a puzzle we have never solved before.
About 3I Atlas, y'all. Listen to this shit. They are now saying that 3I Atlas that was headed towards Earth hit a whole reverse. So the thing y'all trying to say is a comet hit a reverse Uno? Get the fuck out of here, nigga. Since when does a comet have a mind of its own to pick and choose what it want to do? Last time I checked, comets don't just turn around or stop mid-space travel. Like what? They are saying it reversed behind the sun. Man, watch out. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down below in the comments. This stupid ass shit.
Yeah, it just means that nobody really knows, that is really talking. Even the scientists, they have admitted they have never seen anything like this before. So if you haven't seen anything like this before, then how do you know what it's going to do? You don't. You don't know. And I think everything we're being told, we're going to see something completely different once that thing is visible again. We're going to see something completely different. We're not going to see what these scientists and all these people are saying at all. So my thing is be ready for anything. Be ready for anything. But you can best believe it is not the way they're explaining it at all. Mm-mm. But it's funny with some of them getting on video trying to act like they know what's going on, and they're trying to tell us this and tell us it's kinda comical, but, I guess, we get to know how silly these folks really truly are long before 3I Atlas ever showed up in the solar system. We already knew how loony these folks were. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude because I got to get the other one ready where all these white people keep coming on video talking about they talking to folks on 3I Atlas. They're talking to the aliens. Okay. All right. Uh-huh. So you'll be looking at that at 6:45 tonight. So I hope to see y'all all back then. Hopefully you all come back because if nothing else, it'll be great entertainment this evening, won't it? Yeah. Yes, it will. So everybody, please enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you at 6:45. Shalom, family.